Hello and welcome to Finland, the land of the happiest people in the world. The land of thousands of lakes, remote forests, nightless nights, and northern lights. But it's clearly not everything. It's also a country of high costs of living, hard language to learn, high taxes, limited job opportunities, mental health problems, darkness, social isolation, and lack of diversity. So, if you are new here, my name is Herta, and this is where I live with my family in central Finland. I grew up in Finland, moved then to Austria, and became an adult in Austria, and moved then back to Finland 3 years ago. At that time, already 3 years ago, the world seemed to be a crazy place to be. That's why we were searching a country, a place where we could live in peace and quiet and do many things what we like to do and not things what other people require us to do. And that's why Finland seemed to be a very good choice for that one. And now, as we have been here 2 years in the countryside, we still think that way, that Finland is a very good place for that kind of things. But I also know that it's not a paradise for everyone. And I also know that there are very many people watching this video who are dreaming about moving to Finland. Maybe see a picture in their head how their life in Finland would be. I also know that many people get very excited as they hear that Finland won once again the World Happiness Report. For the 8th time in a row, the Finns said that they are the happiest people in the whole world. Which sometimes seems to be, well, quite weird. Bäh. 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 But with the World Happiness Report, the thing is that people always they are trying to explain it. They are trying to explain the results and trying to find connecting factors between the winning countries, so that they could explain how come that especially the Nordic countries are doing very well and so on. But the thing is that the World Happiness Report is not like that. Like the survey makers always highlight, it's only one single question which is asked. There are 1,000 participants aged 15 and over per country. They are then asked that they should imagine a ladder from 0 to 10, 0 being worst possible life and 10 being the best possible life. Then they are asked in which ladder would their life be in the happiness. How happy, how satisfied they are with their life. And Finland scored 2025, was the first one, obviously, with 7.73. The next one was Denmark, followed by Iceland. And of all of the countries, Afghanistan scored the lowest with 1.36. And obviously, you don't need to be a researcher, you don't have to go to the university to know that without the war, you obviously feel very, very happy, because it's such a big thing. Finland is otherwise also a very safe country. When I think back in my childhood, I never was afraid of, even in the middle of the night, being outside somewhere. Of course, nowadays in the bigger cities, it's getting a bit more dangerous, but otherwise Finland is still quite a safe country. So I've seen quite many interviews where the Finns are asked if they are happy, and they say, "Well, I'm not unhappy," which means I suppose I'm happy. Or where they say that, well, they have some basic things like a home, a family, a good health, or a job to be thankful for, which means that if those kind of basic things are okay, then they also feel themselves happy. And I think that's the big thing in the Finnish happiness, the secret of the happiness, that they don't think that they need a Bugatti and want to be driving with a big smile on to be happy. For them, the smaller things mean more. For me, happiness is, of course, those bigger things like a home, a family, and so on. But also very small things make me happy daily. And I also try to think about those things. It's often I don't need to think about those. I'm just thinking about those very, very small things which make me happy every day. But like all the countries in the whole world, also Finland has lots of negative aspects, and especially for the expats there are some huge problems like the language. Finnish is one of the most difficult languages in the world to learn, and that's why also without Finnish it might be difficult to get to know Finns like really, although most of the Finns talk very good English, but it's still, if the country's real language is missing, then it's of course a bit more difficult. And also the job opportunities without Finnish, there are not that many good job opportunities. That's one problem. People say it's the high costs of living, which I'm not quite sure, because you can buy yourself a piece of paradise for under 100,000 euros, which is really unthinkable in most of the countries in the world. And of course it costs a bit more, like heating and stuff like that, because it gets very cold in the winter. But I just looked the European grocery index. Switzerland was obviously place 1, and Finland was on place 9, and Austria on place 7. So it's a bit like with which countries you are comparing it, because for me, I don't think that the groceries are that expensive. And now I also know why, because in Austria it's about the same price. And then there are of course the darkness and the harsh winters, but I think they are also more like how you deal with those things, because for me the darkness really isn't a problem, because I also think that it's only these months, and then it will be months where I don't see the darkness at all. So now I'm really enjoying seeing the stars and the northern lights and so on, because after that you will see only light. And the harsh winters, it's of course, it can get very cold and very snowy, and there are lots of things which you have to think about during those snowy months. But then once again, you can buy yourself so much clothes that it's not that cold. So it's also a thing which you can handle. And then there is of course this one thing which I have been already telling you, what the happiness researchers are saying, that 90% of one human being's happiness is about the own mind, how you are thinking about things, and only 10% is about the outside factors. So that's why I think we would have been happy also in some other countries, because you can be happy about the things which you have. But we have been also thinking that Finland really has made us really, really happy. And one of the most important things for us is the nature and this freedom to do things. And even though we are, well, not that afraid anymore, because now we are here in the countryside, but still there are just so many crazy people. And well, the history have been already showing what happens when people get crazy. But yeah, here we don't have to care that much. And that's just really nice. I think we would have found this kind of place somewhere else as well. But of course in Finland it also doesn't cost that much. And in some other countries, of course, there are some like Sweden or also Romania, I think, and that kind of places where there are like areas where there are not that many people living. But Finland really is a dream place for that one, because as you can see, here are some houses, yeah, but there's not necessarily someone living in them. But that's also not the problem, because we have really nice neighbors, and usually the Finns are really, really nice, at least in the countryside. From the city people, I don't have that much experience. I hope you liked this video, and if you are living in Finland or if you are dreaming about moving to Finland, please tell me what makes you happy in Finland, or what do you think would make you happy if you were living in Finland. Because people, of course, get happy about different kind of things. But I think the most important thing is to understand that happiness comes mostly from inside, and just moving to another country doesn't necessarily remove all your sorrows and problems. But it can make your life easier, like life in Finland. So I wish everyone a nice weekend, and we will see us maybe next time again. Bye bye!